Recap of the old Pow-r Paddle for the new folks visiting. The original Pow-r Paddle, designed a few years ago, worked very well, pushed a lot of large boats, a lot of small boats. This motor is much larger than the new Pow-r Paddle. Realized it was heavier than what we really needed to do. It was long and it made it cumbersome because you can see it's about 6 feet long here. It had no other features to break down and be compact except the knuckle joint right here, which I incorporated a little differently into the new paddle, which we'll see in a minute. What was nice about this paddle here is it worked off battery inside, and I didn't bring a battery with me, but as you know, it was a little cumbersome in the boat to take this off. It's kind of worked like a mag flashlight. And the battery pack, which is about 2 feet long, weighed a couple pounds, slid in here, use that one up, take it out, put a new one in, take them home, charge them up. 2 battery packs, one to get you where you're going, one basically to get you home. This paddle here, that long battery pack, had double batteries in it, not to make it more powerful, but to go for the distance. And we went about a mile on a battery pack in about 18-20 minutes, somewhere in there on Blunt's Pond, and that's usually where you see us doing our filming. So the old Pow-r Paddle also had a ponytail on it, which did hook up to a regular car battery. This simulates the battery you have in your existing boat. Both paddles, same pretty much identical idea in theory behind it. You're in the boat and you're in your pleasure boat and you hit something. You have you have a battery, you have gas, you have your motor, but the gas doesn't do you any good because you may have hit something and busted your propeller or what have you in the water. But you do have a battery on board. If you need to get home, you can plug this into your existing battery, and that's enough to get you home because you've got full deep cell battery right here. Okay, so the new Pow-r Paddle. It was basically redesigned this winter. We had a couple setbacks for about 1.5 years and nobody heard from us. It was quite disappointing, but we're trying to get back on track of things here. And the reason for this is in visiting a lot of people in Colorado, California, Tennessee, whatever, they all wanted to see this and made comments that it should be a little bit more compact, easier to use, more user friendly. So we came up with Pow-r Paddle. Yellow version of it. What's nice about it is you can carry it, and I'm having a sack made for this here, a bag that will go over your shoulder, so you can carry this either way while you carry more things down to your boat, your canoe, your kayak, or whatever. And you have everything with you. You're not carrying just 2 things here, and the principle of this was that you get there, and in a very fast operation, you can set this up to be straight, and your knuckle joint here, which many of the features you're seeing needs to be more engineered out to a final product. Okay, thanks for Brad Cremati, my friend at Super Stick. I'm using fiberglass here now as opposed to the aluminum, because the aluminum condensation got in, it's aluminum, salt water, so forth in there, made it more difficult to keep the contacts going in here. So this was something that Brad Cremati and Push Pull sent to me, and it telescopes out now. So if you're sitting low in a kayak, which you see in the videos, you would have it down. If you're in a boat moor type of thing, you can telescope it up, flip the lever, and you're done. And it's just that simple. Straighten this out, telescope this, and you're done. Made it very, very convenient. As far as operation on this, we're going to talk about batteries in a minute, but I'm just going to show you regular, quick battery, user-friendly, snap it in, away you go. I've just used these batteries out in the boat, so they may not last very long, but okay, and then when you're done, you pop one out, grab another one, slap it in. That's it. That's the Pow-r Paddle. It's as simple as that. It's there when you need it, if you need it. So what I want to do is I want to talk about cost real fast on this, because that's number one concern. What can you make it for? What can you sell it for? A lot of this is what I would consider stock shelf. You have to remember that what I built is basically garage engineering on all my paddles. I don't have the resources or the money to go to a professional company and have it engineered out like the chosen manufacturer to do this would have to do that. But we'll talk about some basic costs. Now, this motor here was a like 3/4 horsepower. This one here that you're seeing is probably like an 1/8 power. They're very cheap. They probably sell them on the shelf by the box load of maybe $8–10 a piece for the motor. Making the blade here, the reason we have a blade on here for the new people seeing the Pow-r Paddle for the first time is it makes the paddle buoyant in the water, though it's not very heavy. It only weighs about maybe 12 pounds, 15 pounds, and it acts as like kind of a rudder for your boat and keeps you like in a kayak if you're in choppy, wavy area, whatever, and it's pulling your boat or your kayak, whatever. This paddle on here acts like a rudder, and it keeps you going true course. So stamping these out, making them fit somehow, engineering is probably, some money to do a stamp, but today's technology to make these and then stamp them out is probably a couple bucks a piece. The initial cost is in some kind of a mold. Okay, then all we have here is basically is plastic PVC or equivalent to it, fiberglass that extends out with this. Can't cost that much to do it. I would imagine a couple bucks for a piece like that on here. Another piece that needs to be engineered would be this knuckle joint here. And I've got a tube coming out for the wires obviously here, which has been holding up very well. A little marine silicone in there. So, a couple bucks for the knuckle joint in here. Again, engineer it out, figure out what you need to do. I'm sure a design could be different, how you would fold it, how you could collapse it. It may even be able to make it even smaller than this, than what I'm doing here. Okay? So that's basically, if you didn't include the batteries in this and you wanted to do like what they do for trolling motors, if you buy a trolling motor, you must remember that you need a battery. Batteries will cost anywhere from $75 to $150. So if you buy a trolling motor that has to attach to your boat, and in which most cases, if it attaches to a boat, states today will charge you to register the boat because they need the money for rescue and so forth, or search and rescue. So with the Pow-r Paddle, you don't have to do that. The concept here is grab and go, slap the battery in, or do what you want to do for the whole day, and basically trying to make it as wireless as possible. So back to the cost on this. So if you could do this and you want to buy a battery, maybe $30 to produce this paddle as you see it right now, maybe less. Okay. The reason I say stop right there is it's the battery technology that seems to be the big holdup. Talking with a lot of manufacturers today. Now these batteries that I've been using and making one pack by itself, I decided I wanted to find something that was off the shelf that I could use because it was easy and because I could compare it cost-wise. Everything today is turning to lithium. This is not lithium battery, but I do plan on buying one that is, because I just recently in the last week found one that's in the same format that will fit my old concept right here and slap right in, and it'll be lithium. So when I first started with this, battery technology was in its infancy, and it was very difficult to talk to anybody, and still is, to talk to to talk to anybody, a technician, about it, because they only want to deal basically with the big companies that have $50,000 to $100,000 to put into battery technology and so forth, and and I don't have that. So that's something that a prospective manufacturer would have to keep in mind. And technology today in lithium batteries changes day to day, week by week, and every month there's something new out on a product. But what we do know is that if it was gas powered in the past or hardwired in, today it's wireless. It was wireless with batteries and cordless drills. Today these are being outdated, these nickel cadmium batteries and nickel metal hydride batteries. Everything is lithium. Everything from weed whackers to trimmers to you name it, lawn mowers, power tools and so forth. Everything is turning into battery power lithium power. Most people that have kayaks today, and many companies, they're trying to put motors on kayaks. Fixed motor on kayak. Kayak was nice because you could throw that kayak or that canoe on top of your car, no problem. Add a motor to it, changes the weight, changes the ability to move that thing around, and it's not so easy anymore to have a fixed motor inside. Again, the Pow-r Paddle, portable, use it, put it in the car, you're all set. So speaking of the batteries here, so we're saying $30 to produce a paddle. You can charge $100 for these paddles, $125 as it is. They go buy the battery for $100. You're into this for $200, $250, maybe $300 if you do it that route. As a manufacturer, you can still have that option to do that, but you can add an option on here that these always come with the ability to put the battery on here, the lithium battery on here. Now I can go to Home Depot and I can buy 2 lithium batteries and a charger for like 150 bucks. Now if I'm buying at retail at 150 bucks, what are you able to really manufacture and produce these things for, realistically? Maybe 50 bucks for those 2 batteries and that charger, and you're making up to 2/3 on the other end when you're selling it. So realistically, you could say I got $30 here and $50 into my batteries, the whole package together. It's costing me, maybe $85, $75, $80 to manufacture this whole paddle and package together, and I can sell them for $2.99, maybe $3.50, somewhere in there. I was told that hey, they could go, we could sell these things for $700 a piece all day long till the cows come home. Well, I listened, but I didn't really believe that that was going to be a true thing. You could. You really want to sell more volume than that. So I think the true price for this and what people would actually pay would be anywhere between somewhere of $250, let's just say $300, $299.99 special on here, up to maybe $350 or $375, and then you can have other options on here. You can make these shafts longer for depending upon what they want to do with it. You can sell extra batteries on here and so forth. So that's basically what we're talking about, cost and price on this, but you really don't know until it has to be engineered out properly, and it's just something that's going to have to be done. Anybody does it. I just don't have the resources, and I don't have the resource and money to do that. It could cost $20,000 and deal with a battery company that can set it up, or it could cost $80,000. But I was told by one guy when I first started this, if the concept is right, the price is right, he could sell 40,000 of these things right off the bat, and 40,000 every year, and they were just increasing. So with that in mind, I don't want to drag this out too long, but I do have a patent. I do have the trademark name. Okay, the website powerpaddle.com, which we're revamping right now, and hopefully I'll have that done soon. The only last thing I wanted to mention about this, for features, my patent mentions 2 safety features. One I'm going to have to let you look up because it's a very important feature on here, and I don't want to discuss it with the whole world at this point in time. And the other one is the fact that the original paddle had a water sensor on here. Very, very, very important feature on here, because in the past when I was developing this, I throw it in and out of the car at the time, and the triggers would go off and these things would spin in the car. I caught my finger in it a couple times. They can do a lot of damage. So with that in mind, and liability to the customer, a cheap $5 water sensor on a paddle means that the paddle can only work when the paddle is in the water. When it comes out of the water, it can't work. So for that instance, I'm going to close this down again for you here. Again, Pow-r Paddle has a knuckle joint in here to fold down. Makes it easy storage, makes it much smaller, and I'm sure that engineering can make it even smaller and better. Folds down to store in the boat. Telescopes out. So just to prove that point, I'm at the end of the day, I'm tired, I got out of the boat, I hand this over to my kid or whatever, and I'm walking to the car or whatever, and accidentally I got the battery in and it's armed. Bang! Okay? bad feature, but the solution is, in that circumstance, that would not happen if I had a water sensor on here. Paddle cannot work once it's out of the water. And I think I've pretty much covered everything. I hope you enjoy the website. I encourage everybody to send me an email. There'll be some phone numbers there as well. Give me a call, and we can discuss any